Good evening, family, and welcome to Power 90 Live. I am Bishop Jerron C. Williams, and I am privileged to bring you this late night platform to highlight kingdom movers and shakers and to give information and conversation about what's going on from a kingdom perspective. But tonight, the first thing we have to share is our thought of the week. And our thought of the week this week is entitled Unshaken. There are two regions that we must consider, two major arenas of our lives that we must consider. Number one, that which goes on around us. Number two, that which goes on in us. Our challenge is to not let everything going on around us come in us. Our challenge is to not let everything going on around us move in us. There are some things around us that need to stay out. And there are some things around us that need to positively impact us. The difference is the challenge. We are in a season called harvest. Harvest is the time where we reap what we have sown. Yes, harvest is the time of reaping, the time where we get back what we've put out. While we're responsible for what comes up in our harvest, we must be careful to not live in the chaos from what comes up in other people's harvests. I can handle mine, but yours is too much for me. And that's what I want to get us to tonight, the place where we don't carry everybody's harvest. There are some people who sowed wonderfully and they are reaping an abundance of wonderfulness. There are people that sowed messiness, and in this season they are reaping messiness. You cannot save anybody from their harvest. The only thing you can do is encourage them, pray for them, and stay out of their harvest. This is the season politically. This is the season racially, socially, and economically that we must live by proper principles personally and save ourselves from an inappropriate and offensive era. We've got to be careful that we personally live by proper principles. This is the time to stand firm in our convictions, what we know internally to be right, to remain committed to our faith, our confidence and trust in God, and to build a life that will bless and benefit the next generation. That ought to be our focus, living not to make our lives the greatest, but to prepare life for the generation that comes behind us. We must be informed, but unshaken, engaged, but unshaken, aware, but unshaken, involved, but unshaken, prayerful, but unshaken. We must keep our feet on the ground, our minds in sobriety, our hearts in purity, and our hands remaining clean, and our face set towards a better existence, knowing that our God is greater than even our government. This has been your thought of the week.
And your life news for today is as follows. The vision of NLIFC is building a people and serving the whole man. We present worship 3 times a week with the intentions of producing an atmosphere whereby you can experience and encounter God. Wednesday, Power 90 Connect at 8 p.m. is our online Bible study where your Christian walk is challenged to mature for the marketplace impact. Friday, Power 90 Live at 10 p.m. is a Beyond Church presentation of kingdom expression on a late night platform, highlighting kingdom advancements, presenting kingdom movers and shakers, and raising kingdom awareness. Sunday Worship Encounter at 11:45 is our live streaming worship service, showing forth signs, wonders, and miracles for your breakthrough, healing, and deliverance. Join us for all 3 presentations weekly on Facebook at New Life International Family Church Facebook page. Thank you.
Well, family, that was perfect. Welcome back. I'm so excited to have you here with me on Power 90 Live. I know it is after 10 o'clock, and I know you are either on your way home, ain't nowhere near home, or at home, almost in the bed. We got a generation that's so old, that's so young. But we welcome you, and I'm so grateful for you tuning in. Well, tonight it's time for our business of the week, and I got a kingdom mover and shaker. I have a young lady who is bursting out on the scene and doing a phenomenal work that we all need. Will you help me welcome at this time a young lady by the name of Miss Shadea Jones? Welcome, Shadea. Can I hear you? I can hear
Can you
you.
hear me? Yes.
Hello, welcome to Power 90 Live.
Thank you. Thank you.
Coming on. Listen, I'm so proud of you because you are making some major moves, not just for yourself personally and not just for your own prosperity, but you are making some major moves to brighten up our society, to add excellence to the way we see things and how things are presented. You have two businesses that you want to share with us tonight. Is
Yeah,
that
that's right.
first talk about Shadea Jones as a painter? Let's talk about that. How did this start?
Okay. Um, I guess I've always kind of been a creative person. And when I got into high school, I started to take art and everything in that area more seriously. And then I went on to college to get my degree, my Bachelor of Fine Arts in painting.
You
And
have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in painting.
I do.
Picasso. All right.
So from there, I started to just build my name, and I'm still building my name, Shadea Jones, just as an abstract painter. And I create paintings that are based on spirituality and just allowing people to invite themselves into a painting and let it be whatever it is that it means to you. I try not to project my feelings so much on the pieces, but I want people to allow themselves to be put into it and to just really allow the colors and the shapes and everything to speak to them.
What's amazing is there have been services where you have set up your easel and set up your board and actually painted while I preached. And that is absolutely phenomenal. What I want to share with you that you do not know is when we go into the new building,
Mhm.
when we go into the new building, I want to use a wall that is going to be a highlight place for the paintings that you painted while I was preaching.
Aw.
I'm not only going to highlight that, it's going to be actually your gallery, a gallery for you where people will be able to purchase those paintings. You just have to replace them when they're purchased. So
Aw.
we're going to use the church, a wall in the church, to actually highlight what you've done and what you're producing because you are phenomenal at what you do.
Thank you.
So
Thank
you got to build up. You got to build up. So you got to pick your Sundays.
I know, I know.
Any Sunday you want to do it, you just set up. You don't have to tell me. Just set up and do what you do. I'm really excited about that. Do you have any paintings that are for sale, or do you have any paintings that you show or anything like that?
I do. So all of my paintings that I have currently are available on my website at shadeajones.com. I have some pieces that are from my senior show that was in December of last year. And then I have some that I've created this year as well.
ShadeaJones.com.
Yes.
Let me make sure I can get that up. ShadeaJones.com. Is that right?
Yes.
And we want people to be able to go and see your art, purchase your art, enjoy your art, knowing that it's from a pure place. It's not from a demonic place. It's not from an evil place. It's not from a wicked place. You're not going to be waking up in the middle of the night with this picture glaring at you. But it could actually bring peace into your home. It could actually bring joy into your home. It could actually bring love into your home. So These are not just paintings, but they are pieces of ministry and pieces of the heart and mind of God that can be hung in anybody's home. So I'm so excited about that, and I look forward. I look forward to you hosting that wall. I can't wait. That's going to be so phenomenal. So we also want to talk about. Let's see if I can remember what it's called. Shadinista. What is it?
SM the Designista.
SM the Designista.
Mm-hmm.
And what is this?
This is my graphic design business. So it focuses on just branding and creating visuals for anybody's business, brand, ministry, because we live in a very digital world. So just making sure that you have proper graphics and images that will benefit your brand.
Now we're going to talk about this in a minute. How is it written? SM the Designista.
So it's SM, and then I guess I should have sent you my logo.
Maybe, but you're fine.
Yeah, it's just SM is my initial, Shadea Nicole, and then the Designista.
All right. And we want to make sure we do it right. Is that right?
There you go.
And this can be found where?
On my website as well. So it's a one-stop shop at ShadeaJones.com.
Fantastic. Let's talk about branding. Let's talk about creating flyers, and tell me the extent of what you do.
So first of all, I do branding. So if you don't have a logo or don't have an overall identity for your business, I can help you with that. And just having a identity is going to help you move forward in the business. So having maybe branding colors for your business, having certain fonts and images that you use on a schedule within your business. That's creating business cards, creating a website, all of that extent. If you need help with social media, I do that as well, just creating content that you may post on a weekly or a monthly basis. And then I just create graphics. If you need a graphic real quick or for a special event, I do that as well.
Well, let me tell you all so you can have an idea of what she does. You see this Bishop J.C. Williams down here? She created that. I didn't even ask her to. She looked at what I was doing, got creative one day, and boom, there it was. I said something Wednesday night on Power 90 Connect. And before the night was up, she had created a statement, and it's on Facebook and everywhere. So this is a young lady. Listen, we have all dealt with graphic artists from Hades. all dealt with people who take forever to do nothing, who promise and then they got excuses. They dog died. They bird got coronavirus. You know, they got all kinds of excuses, and it takes you a year to get anything done. This young lady will not do you like that. If she tells you she's going to deliver in a week, she's going to deliver it in a week. And she is classy. She doesn't just throw stuff together. I've seen flyers and stuff that I was like, oh my God, I don't know who, what, when, where, or why. I don't know what time. I don't know the address. It's just too many fonts, too many colors, just too much. But everything that I've seen her do, whether it's for the church, for me, for my wife, and her business, she's just been excellent at it. So I don't want you to get too busy where you can't work for me. I want her to be able to be sustained by her company. So what I need you to do is go to ShadeaJones.com. I need you to check out her art. I need you to check out her graphic design, her branding ability. And if you need somebody, everybody needs somebody to put together a flyer because everything now is online. So visual is critical. I want you to go to ShadeaJones.com, and I won't say I want you to be a blessing to her. I want you to be blessed by her, because she is doing a work that will benefit your business, not just your church, your business, community, politicians. You need good quality stuff. This is the person you want to deal with. Ladies and gentlemen, Shadea Jones, the Designista.
Yeah, you come on.
Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
You and really just blesses your business as your business is a blessing to them. All right.
All right.
Thank you so much. We love you.
Love you.
Well, that was Shadea Jones. And listen, I bring you quality on this show. You hear what I'm saying? I bring you quality. I ain't bringing you no junk. So if I recommend them, now there might be people I say, well, this is their business and God bless them. But if I recommend them, I promise that they'll be a blessing to you. Well, let's go to another announcement. And then I'll be back in just a few moments.
Give us this day our daily bread. It's yours truly, Pastor Murray. I want to invite all of our New Life members to our Foundation Matters book club. Go to www.nlifc.org and look at the calendar. Find out how to register. You can use your Bible app to track your progress through YouVerse. We'll dialogue week to week, and we'll meet at the end of the month to talk about the chapters we read.
Well, I'm back, and we are moving right along. I want to thank you for all your comments. Shadea Jones has gotten so many very powerful comments about her business. So we are excited. Thank you all for tuning in. I see you, Beverly Ann Jasper Williams. I see you, all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. It's encouraging to know that you're there. Well, I'm getting ready to go to my last segment, and my last segment is the discussion segment. And I wanted to have a little time tonight to talk, because we're in a unique time. We're in a very unique era. They're predicting that it's going to be a rough winter with coronavirus, with the flu. They're predicting that the elections that's coming up in 11 days, I believe it is going to be a shaky time, because we don't quite know how things are going to turn out and what folk are going to do. So I want to sit tonight and I want to talk some politics. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. Nobody is here to tell you who to vote for. Who you vote for is your personal business. You can stand all day long and say, I'm a Trump fan, and go in there and hit Joe Biden. You can stand all day long and say, I'm a Biden fan, and go in there and hit Trump. It's nobody's business who you vote for. My concern is not who, but what. And that it is critical that we look at what we're voting for. Otherwise, we'll get caught up in personality. We'll get caught up in the lack of personality. So I want to bring on a young lady who is in her era, probably one of the most knowledgeable and intelligent young ladies in articulating her thoughts, informed. She's well studied. I want to introduce to you Mia Chigumira. Mia, are you there? Can you hear me?
Hello, my computer is my phone is freezing up
Oh no,
on me.
we got to get you right. Are you there?
I may have to try to switch to my computer because my phone is freezing for some reason.
Okay, yeah, go to your computer and I'll come right back to you. So as she's getting set up and getting ready, tonight I want to talk politics. Number one, the most important thing that we must do is vote. Listen, I don't care who you love and who you hate. I don't care if you don't care about elections 2020. I am telling you, we must vote. It is critical that we vote, not to get somebody in, not to get somebody out, but primarily to exercise the right that people have suffered, bled, and died for us to have. If we are careless enough not to vote, if we are careless enough not to vote, then we should not complain when we lose the right to do so. You need to exercise your right to speak, even if you don't quite know what to say. Are you listening to me? If you don't quite know who you're going to vote for, you're still not sure, go to the polls. Stand in that line if there is a line. Go in there and say, okay, I don't know what to do. If you got to do any, mini, miny, mo, I don't care who you vote for. I need you to vote. It needs to be said that the United States of America is known for people voting. Don't vote or don't not vote because you don't like either candidates. I heard somebody say it's just a two-headed snake. Either way, voting is not about the candidates. Voting is about the right. Voting is about the privilege. And I need you to make sure that you take advantage of your right to vote. Get out there. If the lines are long, if the lines are long, Lord, if the lines are long. If the lines are long, stand there. If there is no line, go through it quickly and brag about it. But vote and then brag. Vote, then go live. Vote, then post your pictures. Vote and let everybody know on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Periscope, on Snapchat, on everywhere. Let everybody know I am a voter. I have voted. It is so critical. It is so important that you vote. All right. I got Mia back and I wanted to drop my spiel on that. You got to vote. Get carpool to the voting precinct. I don't care how you get there. Walk, ride your bike, but vote. You got to vote. All right. Mid Chicken Mirror is coming back. We got you back now. We can see you, but we can't hear you. Turn your volume up. Can't hear you at all. I've muted you. Now I've unmuted you. Thank you. I see those who have voted. If you have voted already, please put in the comments, I have voted. And I'm going to show it. That's right. I have voted. If you've already voted, put it in the comments so I can let everybody know that you have voted. All right. I see.
Can you hear me?
There you go.
Okay.
You're in there with us now. Thank you so much. And I will post your comments, a family who are tuned in. As your comments are relevant, I will put them on the screen along with whatever picture you have up so you can be famous just for a few minutes. All right. There you go. Look at him. I have voted. I have voted. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Lynn Heck. I have voted. All right. Thank you, Nikki Riggins. I have voted. Thank you, April Burrell. Yes, I have voted. Jasmine Coleman. I have voted. Alicia Littles. Yeah. Listen, New Life is a voting church. I need you to know it. The Designista. I have voted. I'm not going to forget that no time soon. The Diva. I have voted. Evangelist Patton. I have voted. Elder Mama. Look at Elder Mama. I have voted. All right. Very good. Nene, I see you. I have voted. Thank you. We must vote. We must vote. Our voices must be heard. Talk to me, Mia, about voting.
Yes, it is where you have your voice. Ultimately, politicians live and die, if you will, by the vote. And so whatever policy that you like, whatever policy that you desire, if you see a good candidate that you enjoy, ultimately they need to get in by your vote. And so I tell people all the time who believe that voting doesn't matter, people wouldn't go to the lengths that they go to stop the vote if voting wasn't important.
That's right.
You know, we have ancestors who had dogs released on them, were thrown in jail for months, killed, houses blown up simply to vote. And so people don't kill people for things that don't matter. Well, usually. So it's definitely important to voice your opinion, voice your vote. Even if you don't like the candidates on the ballot, you have this beautiful option called write-in. So you can write in Donald Duck if you want to, but definitely it's important to vote.
Do not write me in. I will not be the president. I will not be the president. No, thank you.
That's a good idea. Bishop for president. I like it.
No. No, but thank you for that. I looked up on BBC News. They have a post up, U.S. election 2020. What are Trump's and Biden's policies? Mm-hmm. And I want to run through right quick their policies on a few different issues.
Okay.
Because I want us to be informed. I want this to be a show that people can say, I learned something. All right. So here it is on coronavirus. President Trump set up a coronavirus task force at the end of January, which he says has now shifted its focus to safety and opening up our country. The president is also prioritizing the speedy development of coronavirus treatments and vaccines, directing $10 billion towards such projects. Former Vice President Biden wants to set up a national contact tracing program, establish at least 10 testing centers in every state, and provide free coronavirus testing to all. He supports the nationwide mask mandate, which would require face coverings to be worn on federal property. All right. Let's go to climate. What are their policies on climate? President Trump is a climate change skeptic and wants to expand non-renewable energy. He aims to increase drilling for oil and gas and roll back further environmental protections. Roll back means lift them. All right. He has committed to withdrawing from the Paris Climate Accord, the international agreement on tackling climate change, which the U.S. will formally leave later this year. Former Vice President Biden says he would immediately rejoin the Paris Climate Agreement if elected. All right. He wants the U.S. to reach net zero emissions by 2050 and proposes banning new leases for oil and gas drilling on public lands, as well as a $2 trillion investment in green energy. I think one of the things we heard as far as new information last night on the debate was that Biden said he wants to convert over time to non-oil based energy.
Right.
Very interesting. On the economy, President Trump has pledged to create 10 million jobs in 10 months and create 1 million new small businesses. He wants to deliver an income tax cut and provide companies with tax credits to incentivize them to keep jobs in the United States. Former Vice President Biden wants to raise taxes for high earners to pay for investment in public services, but says the increase will only impact those earning over $400,000 a year. He supports raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour from the current rate of $7.25 an hour. Healthcare. I want to give you some of this information so that you can know, even if you've already voted, this is still good information to know. On healthcare, President Trump wants to repeal the Affordable Care Act passed under President Obama, which increased the federal government's regulation of the private health insurance system, including making it illegal to deny coverage for people with pre-existing medical conditions. President Trump says he wants to improve and replace it, although no details of the plan have been published. The president also aims to lower drug prices by allowing imports of cheaper drugs from abroad. Former Vice President Biden wants to protect and expand the Obamacare Act. He wants to lower the eligibility age for Medicare, a policy which provides medical benefits to the elderly, from 65 to 60. He also wants to give all Americans the option to enroll in a public health insurance plan similar to Medicare. Foreign policy. I'm only going to do a few more of these. Foreign policy. President Trump has reiterated his promise to bring down U.S. troop levels overseas while continuing to invest in the military. The president says he will continue to challenge international alliances and maintain trade tariffs on China. Mr. Biden has promised to repair relationships with U.S. allies. He says he would do away with unilateral tariffs on China and instead hold them accountable with an international coalition that China, quote, can't afford to ignore, end quote. Race and policing. Race and policing. President Trump says he doesn't believe racism is a systematic problem within U.S. police forces. Mr. Trump says he does not believe that racism is a systematic problem within U.S. police forces. He has positioned himself as a firm advocate of law enforcement, but has opposed chokeholds and offered grants for improved practices. Mr. Biden views racism as a systematic problem and has set out policies to address racial disparities in the injustice system, such as grants to incentivize states in reducing incarceration rates. He has rejected calls to defund police, saying additional resources should instead be tied to maintaining proper standards. Guns. Are we learning something tonight? Guns. President Trump has an expansive interpretation of the U.S. Constitution's Second Amendment, protecting giving Americans right to bear arms. He did propose tightening background checks on gun buyers after a string of mass shootings in 2019, but nothing came of the plan and no further legislation has been put forward. Mr. Biden has proposed banning assault weapons, banning assault weapons. He has proposed universal background checks, limiting the number of guns a person can purchase to 1 per month, and making it easier to sue negligent gun manufacturers and sellers. He would also fund more research into preventing gun violence. You know the Supreme Court matter. Trump wants to get his candidate in. Biden wants to wait until the office is settled. These are a few of the policies that show us what each candidate actually stands for. Tell me some of your thoughts, Mia.
Yes. So I think it's phenomenal that you went through and read that out, because a lot of times in presidential elections, it becomes a popularity contest. I'll never forget hearing after the Bush v. Gore election, people being asked the question, so what was your main reason you voted for President Bush? And a lot of people's answer was, I felt like I could grab a beer with him. You know, he seemed like somebody who was personable, who was cool. And so unfortunately, a lot of times it comes down to the likability of the candidate rather than what they actually stand for. And so ultimately voting is a hiring process. You know, many of us, when we go through jobs, you have multiple stages, you have multiple steps. It's very thorough. There's a vetting process. There's a background check. And likewise, we ought to do with these candidates. You know, don't just take the words of the news pundits, but actually doing the depth of research of their record. What have they actually done to see what's going on? So I think it's great that you did that. You know, we definitely have two very different candidates. You know, President Trump is as unusual a president as we've had in modern history. And Joe Biden, he's been on the political stage for probably well over 40 years, I believe. And so we've seen his record. We've seen how he is. And the American people have a very staunch choice, if you will. We have a very depending on where you stand, a very easy choice for some, a very difficult choice for others.
Here's my question to you. Are we voting on personality or are we voting on policy? I've read those because I don't think many people know the policy moves and the policy standards that the politicians are running on. We just like who we like and we hate who we hate.
Right.
And some of the biggest mistakes have been made liking a snake that had on a mask.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. A Trojan horse, if you will.
Yes.
A lot of times it is about personality, and a lot of times it is about popularity versus their actual stances. And another thing that I often say is it's important to read the Constitution and what it outlines a president should do and should be.
Read the Constitution?
Right.
Those are things we did in elementary school and middle school. You really don't expect the citizens of the United States of America to have a working knowledge and understanding of our government. We just criticize. We don't educate ourselves on that type of thing. We just fuss and march and fight and do other things. You're suggesting that we should read the Declaration of Independence. We should read the Constitution of the United States of America. We should read our state constitutions and be knowledgeable about things that are going on. Wow.
Right. Yeah. And like you just said, the state constitution. How many people know that states have a constitution?
Right.
How many people know that the federal government, you mentioned earlier about requiring masks on federal property. There's a reason for that. The federal government's jurisdiction only goes so far. And so there's a lot of times where we expect the federal government to do things they legally cannot do. It's up to the states and the local government. And so it's important to know where those jurisdictions lie, because you may be upset with the president for doing something that was never in his role to do in the first place. It may be your mayor's job. It may be the city council's job. It may be the General Assembly's job. So it's important to know whose job is what, so you know, okay, who do I hold accountable and how do I hold them accountable?
Well, I looked up something else, and I want to get your thoughts on this. This election is not just about the president. This is not just a presidential election.
Absolutely.
Every state has their elements on their ticket. I want to look at Georgia, and I want to look at what the Georgia ticket is going to look like. So when you voted or when you go vote, I want you to get some information tonight on what this Georgia ticket is going. Listen, we ain't preaching tonight. We ain't speaking in tongues. We ain't falling out on the floor. We're giving you information.
Right.
We're giving you knowledge about your government and about your right to exercise, not just exercise, but the right to exercise voting intelligently.
Right.
To know what you're voting for. So we have the vote for the U.S. president. This is the sample voter guide for the state of Georgia. So the U.S. President, Joe Biden supports a woman's right to choose and is endorsed by Planned Parenthood and NARAL Pro-Choice America versus Donald Trump, Republican. Trump opposes the woman's right to choose and has fought to repeal Roe versus Wade, which allowed governments to ban abortion even in cases of rape and incest. Then you have U.S. Senate number 1. U.S. Senate number 1 is John Ossoff, Democrat. Ossoff will defend women's access to contraception and a woman's right to choose fight any legislation or executive action that would allow insurance companies to discriminate against women. John will defend Planned Parenthood in Congress. Then you have David Perdue, Republican, for U.S. Senate number 1. Perdue is pro-life. In 2018, David Perdue voted to propose amending the federal criminal code to make it a crime for any person to perform or attempt to perform an abortion if the probable post-fertilization age of the fetus was 20 weeks or more. So if the fetus is over 20 weeks old, it will be illegal in his purview to have an abortion. Then we have U.S. Senate number 2. U.S. Senate number 2, Reverend Raphael Warnock, Democrat. Warnock supports the woman's right to choose and is endorsed by Planned Parenthood, Action Fund, and NARAL Pro-Choice America. Matt Lieberman. Lieberman is pro-choice Democrat. Lieberman is pro-choice and believes that Roe versus Wade must remain the law of the land. He wants to restore funding under Title X and believes that we need federal judges who will strike down the 6-week abortion ban passed by the Georgia legislature. Then you have Doug Collins, Republican. Collins is pro-life and has been endorsed by a number of anti-choice organizations during his time in Congress. So for U.S. Senate seat number 2, you have 2 Democrats fighting versus a Republican. All right? Well, there are more than that.
Yes, there are several.
You also have Kelly Loeffler, Republican. Susan B. Anthony List, a pro-life organization, National Right to Life. These is who she's supported by. Let me go back to on the issues. Loeffler is pro-life and has been endorsed by several anti-choice organizations. She has sponsored 4 anti-choice bills since her time in office. So the voting ballot is going to look like more than Trump and Biden.
Oh, yes.
And we need to be aware of what we're voting for. President Trump will not have as much impact on Georgia as the senators. Will not have as much impact on Georgia as some of these others running. So we need to make sure we're not just checking, we're not just thinking about president and vice president and then just doing the college Scantron sheet, just checking off the others. No, we need to be knowledgeable and supportive. Anything else you want to share with us tonight?
Yes. So we're not just voting for people, but also referendums.
Yes.
There are a few Georgia constitutional referendums up, some amendments to the Georgia Constitution that are up as well. And so it's important to read up on those and decide, whether you're going to say yes or no to those. Or also, what a lot of people don't know is you don't have to vote for everything. So if you want to leave an area blank, you can do that as well.
Excellent. I thought I had something on the referendums here too. I was trying to be thorough. Yeah, because I want you to know. And in case you don't, go research it. I want you to be able to say you heard it on Power 90 Live.
That's right.
That's right. Let's see. Okay, I don't see what my referendums are. Jerron Williams, you're supposed to have this together. I'm fussing at myself here, y'all. La 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 la. Y'all don't know nothing about the Smurfs. Y'all too young. Oh wow, Public Service Commission, District 1. Robert Bryant, Democrat. Jason Shaw, Republican. Public Service Commission, District 4. Daniel Blackman, Democrat. Lauren Bubba McDonald Jr., Republican. Here we are, Amendment HR 164.
Mm-hmm.
The amendment would authorize the Georgia State Legislature to pass legislation establishing special funds with dedicated revenue sources to fund state-specific projects. Statutes that impose such taxes and fees must reference this amendment and identify the government agency responsible for administering the revenue in its text. Interesting, you don't really know what that said.
That they do that on those referendums. I hate that about that. Like, it's a bunch of legalese intentionally, so you don't know which to pick.
You have no idea what that does. All right, let's move on. Amendment HB 344, Act number 149.
Mm-hmm.
This amendment would exempt property owned by a 501c3 public charity from property taxes if the property is owned exclusively for the purpose of building or repairing single-family homes, and the charity provides interest-free financing to the individuals purchasing the home. Interesting. All right.
I'm sending you a link now of 11, a live article, and they go into like more description about what each amendment means. Like the first one they're saying means that it requires that the funds allocated for a specific thing in a bill has to go to that thing. Because heretofore, for instance, if you are doing a 1% tax for the purposes of schools, maybe if there's leftover funds, it'll be allocated to something else. And so this is trying to add a constitutional amendment that doesn't allow that.
Excellent. Are you posting the link?
I will put it up, yes.
Yeah, please post it so that people can go and look. The last one is Amendment HR 1023. The amendment would allow you to affirm your rights by seeking declaratory relief from state or local laws that violate the U.S. Constitution, state constitution, or state law. However, a court will not award damages, attorney's fees, or other costs of litigation unless authorized by the state legislator. After granting declaratory relief, a court can block the law or act in question. If passed, the amendment would waive Georgia's sovereign immunity, a legal doctrine that holds the government cannot be sued without its consent. Sovereign immunity. Very, very, very interesting. Here is the link. If you go to the comments, you can click on the link in the comments. Mia Chigumira put it up. You can click on that and it'll give you some more information. Mm-hmm. I am so happy to be able to have the opportunity to chat with such a knowledgeable young lady who knows what she's talking about and can really help us in navigating this season. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, help me celebrate Mia Chigumira. You'll see her and hear from her more as she begins her journey even in the political arena. All right. Thanks, Mia. Have a great night.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, family, I am not Mia Chigumira. So let me see if I can pull that. There we go. So, family, it's time for us to go to bed. I've held you a little overtime. I usually have a joke of the night for you. And My joke of the night did not get researched. I take full responsibility. And what I will do on next Friday, next week, is I will give you 2 jokes. Not at the same time. I'll spread them out in the show. But I want to say to you, and what I want to close with is no joking matter. Vote. Don't wait to the last minute. Don't wait to day of and be frustrated and say it was too long. Your job cannot prevent you from voting. Vote. Have a say-so. Regardless of what your say-so is, have one. Go and vote. This has been Power 90 Live. Good night and have a phenomenal night. See you Sunday. If you don't go to New Life, go to church somewhere. We love you. May heaven smile upon you is our prayer. Good night, family.